Okay, for this we're going to put our demand and our supply together. Okay, and we're going to get something called equilibrium. With equilibrium, we are going to have the situation where everybody that wants to buy something is able to buy it at that price, and everybody that wants to sell something at that price is able to sell it at that price. So we're going to find equilibrium. Equilibrium is always going to exist where quantity demanded, Q sub D is quantity demanded, is equal to quantity supplied. Quantity supplied we call Q sub S. So the only place on this table that we find where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied is at $3. At $3, quantity demanded is 60, quantity supplied is 60. That would be our equilibrium price, $3, and the equilibrium quantity would be 60. Okay? So let's see what that would look like in a graph. Okay, so we have price here. We aren't going to write out price and quantity every time. We'll just label it P and Q. So we know that our demand curve is downward sloping. We know our supply curve is upward sloping. So the point where the two curves, this demand curve and the supply curve, intersect, that's our equilibrium. Okay, so that's our equilibrium. That's where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. And in this example, we see price, we see quantity. Okay, so that's our equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. In this case, it's $3 and it is 60 units. That's our equilibrium price and quantity. Now, what happens if we are not at $3? Let's say we're at $1. If we're at $1, what's this all going to look like? Okay, so we have price, we have quantity. Okay, so we have our downward sloping demand curve, our upward sloping supply curve. At $1, the price is $1. Let's look on our supply curve for how much we are willing to supply at that price. At $1, let's look up here, $1, we are willing to sell 20 units at $1. But at $1, how much are we willing to buy? Our quantity demanded, that's 100. Okay, so we have quantity demanded is 100. Our quantity supplied is 20. So at this price of $1, quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. More people are willing to buy than are willing to sell at that price. So this is called a shortage. The magnitude or the size of the shortage is going to be the difference between quantity demanded and quantity supplied. So we take 100 minus 20, and the magnitude of the shortage is going to be 80. Okay, we know it's a shortage because the quantity demanded, how much people want to buy, is greater than our quantity supplied, which is how much firms want to sell. Okay, so let's look at the other end of this, and let's say that the price was $5. Okay, so we have price, we have quantity, we have our downward sloping demand curve, our upward sloping supply curve. So if the price were $5, okay, so the price now, $5, let's look here, $5. Quantity demanded now is less, it's 20. Quantity supplied is 100. Okay, so quantity supplied, how much are we willing to sell at $5? We're willing to sell 100. Our quantity demanded, how much we're willing to sell, or excuse me, how much we're willing to buy at $5 is only 20. So in this situation where quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, this is called a surplus. More people want to sell than are willing to buy. Okay, and we can do the magnitude of the surplus the same way we did over here. We're going to take the how much we're willing to sell minus how much people are willing to buy. The magnitude is 80. Okay, we could have done that up here. 100 minus 20 is 80. We could say, okay, if the price were $4, what would be the situation? At $4, again, my quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, so we know we have a surplus. The magnitude would be 80 minus 40, which would be 40.